Welcome to your era of quiet authority, chosen one. They always described you the exact same way, did they not? Too kind and too forgiving, and the one who stayed quiet just to keep the peace. You need to stop right now and listen very closely to my voice, because this is not the algorithm feeding you meaningless distractions to pass the time. This is an urgent interception designed exclusively for your soul. Before you do anything else, I want you to take one deep breath. Feel that heavy tension sitting right in the center of your chest. That is not just daily stress or physical tension playing tricks on your mind. That tightness is your spirit detecting a massive and violent shift in your timeline, and you have been feeling incredibly isolated and completely drained lately. People around you are acting very strange. Doors are closing in your face without any logical explanation. You feel like you are walking through a thick fog, completely alone. But you are not being punished by the universe. You are being divinely isolated because a kingdom-level upgrade is happening right now, and your enemies are absolutely terrified of what you are becoming. Funny how everyone pretended they did not see you coming. Funny how the very same people who ignored your texts are suddenly feeling incredibly uncomfortable around you. They thought their betrayal would finally break your spirit. They assumed you would crawl back to them begging for a tiny crumb of validation, but they severely underestimated the sacred fire burning inside you. Instead of breaking down, you went completely silent. And that silence activated a primal and dangerous level of spiritual power inside your soul. Do not scroll past this message. Heaven is about to expose exactly what is happening behind closed doors. Those who plotted against your downfall are watching everything they built crumble into absolute dust, while a massive table is being prepared for you in their very presence. Stay with me, because the final piece of this puzzle will change how you walk forever. You have always been the one giving your energy away to people who did not deserve it. You poured your heart into empty vessels. You hoped they would eventually learn how to love you back, but they simply drained you and left you completely exhausted on the battlefield. It is a massive privilege to simply be in your presence. Your energy is a literal sanctuary for broken and toxic souls. They flocked to your light because their own spirits were suffocating in pitch-black darkness. They fed on your kindness because they possessed absolutely nothing of value inside themselves. You were their lifeline, and they treated you like an option. But that era of disrespect is officially over. They took your endless patience for granted. They mocked your pure intentions. They tried to make you feel like you were entirely at fault. But the universe has a very strict protocol for those who abuse a chosen one. Right now, a heavy spiritual debt is being collected from every single person who threw stones at you, and they are currently experiencing the exact pain they forced you to endure. And the most beautiful part is that you do not have to lift a single finger. Your quiet authority is doing all the heavy lifting for you. This is why you must not leave this video under any circumstances. If you swipe away now, you will single-handedly shut the door on the revelation your soul desperately needs. You will miss the exact mechanism that is bringing them to their knees. There is a reason your spirit has been so restless over the last few weeks. You wake up at 3 in the morning with your heart racing. Your mind is spinning with endless thoughts. You feel a strange electricity buzzing beneath your skin. That is the frequency of absolute victory attempting to anchor itself into your physical body, because the waiting season has officially ended and the harvest is here. Do you want to know exactly why divine timing is descending upon you right now? Brace yourself. What I am about to say will shake your reality. They did not leave because your vibration was too low. They ran away because your blinding light exposed every single demon they were trying to hide, and they could not handle the painful truth of their own reflection. Your mere existence is a threat to their fake reality. When you walk into a room, the atmosphere immediately shifts. They can feel it in their bones. They hate the fact that they can no longer manipulate what they cannot even access. Your boundary is an invisible wall of fire that they keep burning their hands on. and right now they are scrambling to find a way back into your good graces. Do not let them back in under any circumstances. You are no longer the empath who begged to be understood by shallow minds. The crucible of your pain has forged you into an untouchable weapon of pure light. You are a cycle breaker. You are holding the keys to a generational wealth transfer, but you must understand the exact steps to claim this divine inheritance. If you leave this message before the end, you will step right into a fatal trap. The breakthrough will still arrive, but you will not have the equipment to hold it properly. Make a promise to your future self right now. Keep your eyes locked on this screen, because I am about to reveal the ultimate secret that will permanently secure your new timeline. Take a deep breath and let my words sink in, because you have carried the weight of the world for far too long. Your shoulders are incredibly heavy today. Tap the like button as an act of agreement with what God just spoke to you. You are a chosen one, and the path you walk is not meant for the weak. You have always been the one to fix everyone else. But who was there to fix you when you were completely broken? You poured endless love into cups that had massive holes in them. You gave your absolute best to people who only gave you their bare minimum. They gladly took your light and left you completely drained, while you constantly convinced yourself that if you just loved them harder, they would finally change. They never changed. They only learned how to wear better masks. You lowered your own standards just to make them feel comfortable. You dimmed your blinding light so their fragile egos would not feel threatened. You sat in rooms full of shallow people and forced yourself to smile, but deep down your spirit was screaming because you knew you did not belong there. Listen carefully to what I am about to say next. It was never your fault. You did not choose the wrong people because you were foolish, but rather you attracted them because your pure energy is a literal magnet for completely broken souls. They recognized you as a supreme healer. They saw your kindness as an open invitation to dump all their trauma onto your shoulders. They fed on your endless compassion. They used your beautiful heart as a temporary shelter, and the moment they felt slightly better, they abandoned you without a second thought. You were left holding the pieces of a mess you did not even create, and you cried silent tears in the dark, wondering why your love was never enough. Your love was more than enough. It was simply given to people who lacked the spiritual capacity to hold it. You were handing priceless diamonds to people who only valued cheap stones. They did not understand your depth. They deliberately mocked your beautiful sensitivity because they were terrified of it, and your profound empathy was a harsh mirror that exposed their entirely shallow existence. You used to be the empath who apologized for simply existing. You took the blame just to avoid a pointless argument. You let them cross your sacred boundaries because you were terrified of being completely alone, but that vulnerable version of you is officially dead and gone forever. The universe had to let you experience that severe disrespect to wake you up completely. Pain was your ultimate teacher. The ultimate betrayal you faced was not a punishment from above. It was a rigorous training ground to forge you into an empath with boundaries. Heaven watched you bleed for people who secretly wanted to see you fail, and it decided it was finally time to intervene and remove those parasites from your timeline. Do you feel that slight pull in your chest right now? That is your intuition confirming every single word I am speaking. You are clearly remembering all those times you sacrificed your own peace for their comfort, and how they casually walked away while you were still actively bleeding. They left you in the dark, expecting you to completely lose your mind. But you did not lose your mind. You found your true power in the absolute silence. You realized that their sudden absence was actually the greatest blessing in disguise. So you stopped trying to prove your worth to people who were committed to misunderstanding you. You stopped negotiating your immense value with souls who could not even afford your basic presence. They called you crazy when you finally started speaking your absolute truth. They aggressively labeled you as difficult when you stopped being their convenient doormat, and they tried to paint you as the villain in a story where you were bleeding. Do not let their desperate lies infect your sacred mind. Their opinions hold absolutely zero weight in your new reality. You survived the storm entirely alone. You wiped your own tears when nobody else reached out to check on you. You dragged yourself out of the dark pit while they were busy celebrating your downfall, and that independent survival is exactly what makes you so incredibly dangerous to them. You no longer need their fake validation to survive. Pay close attention, because this is where everything starts to make sense. The extreme exhaustion you feel right now is simply the aftermath of that brutal spiritual war. Your physical body is finally relaxing after years of being in high alert survival mode, and you are shedding the heavy layers of trauma that were never yours. You learned exactly how narcissists manipulate pure energy. You studied their shallow tactics from the inside out. Every time you lowered yourself, you gathered vital intelligence about how the darkness operates, allowing you to study their incredibly shallow tactics from the inside out. Now, you hold a master degree in spiritual warfare. The tables are about to flip. You might be wondering why the universe took so long to answer. You look around and see an empty room. You feel entirely disconnected from the loud world outside, and you constantly think you did something horribly wrong to end up so isolated and alone. But here is the absolute truth they tried to hide from you. Your intense isolation is not a punishment or a bitter failure. This is a period of divine isolation. Heaven deliberately slowed you down to protect you from rooms you were never meant to enter. It had to completely clear the stage before your massive blessing arrived. You were surrounded by incredibly heavy and parasitic energies for years, and they were quietly blocking your true frequency from shining at its highest potential. The universe had to ruthlessly remove those counterfeit connections. If they stayed, they would have severely poisoned your new harvest. You cried when they stopped calling you. You felt totally abandoned in your darkest hour. But you must stop blaming yourself for the painful delays. Stop thinking your beautiful vibration was completely flawed. The rejection you faced was not a real rejection at all. It was the ultimate protection protocol from the highest divine source. Breathe that deep truth in right now. You have absolutely passed the rigorous test. Every closed door was just a solid shield, keeping the enemy away from your sacred energy, because you are indeed a powerful chosen one. And a chosen one cannot be mixed with the ordinary shallow crowd. But there is a deeper layer to this confusing phenomenon. Pay close attention to this next part, because it will make complete sense of your entire past year. You notice that you suddenly lost interest in trivial conversations, and the loud places you used to enjoy started to severely exhaust you. Your soul was forcefully pulling you away from the noisy matrix. This sudden withdrawal was a completely necessary spiritual quarantine. Your internal operating system was undergoing a massive and complex upgrade. You simply cannot install a new divine frequency while running old corrupted software. The universe had to disconnect you entirely. You had to sit in absolute silence to hear your true calling. Yes, the silence was incredibly painful at first. You faced your deepest and darkest shadows without any cheap distractions. You sat with your raw pain and processed every single ounce of heavy trauma. You are the one who survived the storm alone, and heaven deeply honors your silent tears. Because you survived it alone, nobody can ever claim they built you. You belong strictly to the highest divine source. They cannot survive without constant and noisy attention. Those parasitic souls need an endless supply of toxic drama just to feel alive, and they are absolutely terrified of being left completely alone with their own dark thoughts. But you learned how to make ultimate peace with the vast emptiness. You turned your lonely room into a powerful sanctuary of healing. You are now an untouchable master of reality. You no longer tolerate deep confusion disguised as love. You no longer accept blatant disrespect disguised as brutal honesty, because the heavy blindfold is permanently gone. Your divine isolation gave you the ultimate clarity to see people exactly as they are. You can spot a fake intention from 1,000 miles away. Do not ignore this next vital sign. Heaven is currently wrapping up this lonely waiting season, but you had to be completely emptied out before you could be properly filled with pure spiritual gold. Your frequency had to be perfectly and ruthlessly calibrated. If the wealth and the new connections came any earlier, you would have shared them with parasites, and you would have blindly funded your own tragic destruction. That is exactly why the divine timing feels so incredibly mysterious to you. The universe was not denying you the ultimate prize. It was actively starving the hungry demons attached to your old life. They desperately tried to cling to your bright aura, but the intense heat of your pure solitude burned them completely away. You are now stepping out of the furious fire absolutely spotless. Take a deep breath. Let that powerful truth settle deep in your tired spirit. The heavy burden of false guilt you carried is officially lifted forever. You did not push those people away because you were completely broken. Your blinding light simply exposed their hidden darkness, and they sprinted away in fear. Your elevated frequency literally evicted them from your sacred physical space because they simply could not breathe. And here is the most shocking part of it all. As you sit here in your peaceful isolation, they are intensely watching you. They truly thought your isolation would drive you completely mad. They expected you to return to them begging for a tiny drop of cheap attention. But your glowing silence is currently tearing their false reality apart. You are stepping into the glorious final phase of this sacred quarantine. The heavy walls of your isolation are about to transform into the golden pillars of your new kingdom. You have successfully detoxed your spirit from the toxic attachments of the painful past. Prepare yourself for the grand reveal, because the shadows are starting to heavily panic. This is where everything starts to make sense. You have to understand the exact mechanism of the dark forces. The narcissists in your life are currently experiencing a complete and utter psychological meltdown. They are aggressively panicking in the shadows because their ultimate weapon against you is entirely broken. They can no longer manipulate your pure heart. They always thrived on your intense emotional reactions. When you used to argue and cry, they felt an immense surge of dark power. Your deep pain was their daily toxic fuel, but your sudden silence has completely cut off their vital energy supply, and they are literally suffocating without your bright light. They are drowning in their own toxic waste. You are no longer reacting to their pathetic games. You are completely unaffected by their cheap manipulation tactics. This newfound peace terrifies them down to their very core. They fully expected you to chase them around. They assumed you would eventually break down and beg for their toxic attention. But you stood your ground like a massive fortress of solid, blinding light. Listen closely to 3 exact reasons why they are terrified of you. Number 1 is your massive and quiet authority. Your silence is a deafening roar that echoes in their empty minds. They simply cannot read your pure energy anymore. They cannot find a single weak spot to exploit, and this lack of access makes them incredibly paranoid and fearful of your next move. Every single day you stay away from them, they lose another piece of their fragile ego. They try to provoke you through mutual friends. They post subtle hints online, desperately hoping you will finally react. But you are an untouchable master of reality now. You just watch their desperate theater with absolute disgust and complete indifference. Number 2 is your sudden and massive spiritual elevation. They can physically feel that your frequency has drastically changed. When they think about you, a heavy weight immediately drops into their stomach. They know deep down that you have outgrown them completely. The universe is actively preparing a massive table right in front of their eyes. They watch your glow returning brighter than ever before. Your skin is clearing up and your energy is returning. They truly thought they destroyed your spirit completely, But their betrayal actually served as the catalyst for your ultimate awakening, and they deeply hate themselves for accidentally pushing you right into your supreme divine purpose. Number 3 is the heavy karma they are currently harvesting. You do not even have to lift a single finger against them. The universe is aggressively balancing the scales on your behalf. Everything they try to touch is slowly falling apart. Their new relationships are incredibly chaotic because they carried their own toxic demons right into their next chapter. Before we go any further, I need you to anchor this profound truth. You are a powerful weapon of blinding light, but even a weapon needs a proper and sturdy shield. Hit subscribe to establish a divine energy receiving station. You must protect your sacred aura from their desperate attempts to crawl back. They will definitely try to return when they hit absolute rock bottom. They are secretly studying your every move from a hidden distance. They use fake accounts just to see if you are finally failing, but all they see is your massive, glorious rise. This is the exact moment the spiritual shift occurred in the hidden realm. The heavy chains of their dark manipulation have completely shattered into a million tiny pieces. You stepped out of the heavy fog with perfect, clear vision. You can easily spot their subtle lies from 1,000 miles away. They try to use fake guilt to pull you back into their dark pit. But your boundary is a literal wall of fire that burns their toxic intentions on contact. You are completely immune to their pathetic guilt trips now. They are deeply haunted by the memory of your pure love. They know they will never find another soul as beautiful and giving as yours. They threw away a priceless diamond for a cheap, worthless rock, and the painful reality of their massive mistake is keeping them awake at 3 in the morning. They are suffering in absolute and terrifying silence. But wait, and do not leave just yet, because this is extremely crucial. While they are panicking in the dark, your spirit is preparing for a massive download. You might feel a sudden rush of heavy electricity in your hands tonight. That is a physical sign of the new frequency anchoring itself into your body. The dark forces are completely powerless to stop this divine upgrade. They tried to bury you deep in the cold dirt. But they completely forgot that you were a sacred divine seed. The immense pressure they put on you only forced your roots to grow deeper and stronger. You are now a massive tree bearing the beautiful fruits of generational wealth. They can only stand in your shadow and watch you flourish with extreme bitter envy. You must stay highly alert in this exact moment, because their absolute desperation will make them very unpredictable. They might try to send a fake apology wrapped in beautiful spiritual words. They will pretend they have completely changed and finally found the bright light. Do not let their desperate illusions trick your beautiful and sacred mind. Your silence is no longer just an absence of words. It has evolved into a massive and heavy physical force. When you completely stopped explaining yourself to them, a massive energetic shift occurred. You finally stopped giving them your precious breath, and that exact withdrawal of your vital energy created an overwhelming vacuum that is literally choking them right now. They are heavily gasping for the spiritual air you used to provide. They walked away thinking they had completely destroyed you. They expected you to scream in absolute agony, but instead you just stared back at them with cold and pure indifference. Your quiet authority is an absolute weapon of light that pierces right through their extremely fragile masks. There is a powerful energy field surrounding you at this very moment. It is thick and heavy and completely impenetrable. When those betrayers even try to think about you, they hit a massive brick wall. Their toxic thoughts bounce right back and strike them entirely down. This is the exact reason why they feel a sudden crushing weight on their chests when they see your name. You are an untouchable master of reality now. You do not need to speak a single word to demand absolute respect. Your pure presence alone dictates the heavy atmosphere of any room you enter. They know they crossed a sacred boundary they can never uncross again, and the realization that they permanently lost your pure divine protection is slowly driving them completely insane. You used to be the one who compromised your own peace. You bent entirely backward just to accommodate their extreme dysfunction. You swallowed your pride just to maintain a fake and toxic harmony. But the fire of your awakening burned that weak version of you entirely to ash. You are now a cycle breaker, standing firmly on the holy ground of your ancestors while they sink in mud. They are currently choking on the very same lies they told about you. The universe is forcing them to swallow every single drop of their own bitter poison. You did not wish any harm upon them. You simply removed your glowing light from their dark presence, and without your bright light to guide them, they are crashing aggressively into massive walls of their own making. They desperately try to find your unique warmth in other people. They hop from one shallow connection to another, completely empty soul. But absolutely nobody can replicate the divine frequency you naturally carry. They look for you in the faces of complete strangers. They constantly search for the unconditional love you gave them, but they only find cold and terrifying emptiness everywhere. There is a highly specific physical sign you will feel very soon. I need you to pay very close attention to your own body tonight. You might suddenly feel a strange warmth spreading slowly across your shoulders. That is the heavy armor of heaven settling perfectly onto your spiritual frame. It is the absolute confirmation that your invisible enemies have completely surrendered and the war is finally over. They simply cannot access your pure timeline anymore. Your vibration has skyrocketed far beyond their toxic and low-frequency reach. They are stuck entirely in the miserable past they deliberately created for themselves. Meanwhile, you are rapidly ascending into a realm of pure, effortless manifestation. The heavy spiritual chains they maliciously tried to place on your neck have totally evaporated into thin air. Do you feel the massive power rushing through your veins right now? That is the ancient strength of your bloodline finally waking up. You are the one who survived the storm alone. You built an empire of peace out of the broken glass they left behind. They look at your glorious rising, and they are completely paralyzed by the sheer magnitude of your blinding light. Their lungs are completely filled with the toxic smoke of their own karma. Every time they try to speak your name, it tastes like bitter ash. Heaven has placed a strict gag order on your cowardly enemies. They cannot even gossip about you without feeling an overwhelming sense of sudden dread. Your absolute silence has literally silenced their entire world and completely stripped them of their false power. You are an empath with boundaries made of solid diamond. You will never allow another emotional parasite to drain your sacred well. They can stand outside your kingdom and violently knock on the heavy gates. But those iron gates will never open for them again. Your radiant energy demands complete respect without a single word spoken from your own physical mouth. This glorious transformation was born from your deepest agony. The universe took your raw, bleeding heart and forged it into an unstoppable weapon. You do not fight with anger or bitter resentment. You completely defeat them by simply existing in a state of absolute joy. That true and authentic happiness is the ultimate punishment for those who maliciously wanted you completely destroyed. Let this profound reality sink deeply into your soul right now. They are completely suffocating in the dark while you are breathing pure victory. But I have to warn you about a massive shift happening next. The universe is about to show you undeniable physical proof of your upgrade. Prepare yourself completely, because the final seal of your divine inheritance is rapidly approaching your current timeline. I need you to pay extremely close attention right now. The universe is sending you undeniable physical signs. These are not random events. Your body is physically reacting to a massive frequency shift. I am going to reveal the exact 3 signs that prove your spiritual upgrade is happening right now. Number 1 is the sudden physical awakening. You keep waking up at exactly 3 in the morning. Your heart is racing very fast. Your mind is spinning with endless random thoughts. But you must understand you are not suffering from basic human anxiety. That is your spirit receiving high-level divine downloads, while the rest of the loud world is asleep. You might also feel a strange pressure right in the center of your forehead. Your shoulders feel heavy, but your spirit feels incredibly light. The dark matrix is officially losing its heavy grip on your physical body, and the invisible chains that held you down for years are finally turning into dust. You are shedding the trauma of your ancestors. You are a true cycle breaker. Number 2 is your complete disgust for shallow environments. You simply cannot tolerate meaningless conversations anymore. Small talk physically drains your energy now. You used to force yourself to fit into those crowded rooms. But now your soul literally forces you to isolate yourself from their fake drama, because your new vibration requires absolute purity to survive. You are an empath with boundaries of solid steel. You look at the people you used to desperately chase, and you feel absolutely nothing but pure indifference. Their superficial goals look incredibly ridiculous to you now. Heaven has completely elevated your spiritual vision, allowing you to easily look past their fragile masks and see the terrified demons hiding underneath. Number 3 is the aggressive manifestation of angel numbers. You keep seeing 111 and 777 everywhere you go. You look at the clock at the exact right moment. You hear highly specific phrases, answering your silent prayers. These constant synchronicities are absolute confirmations that your powerful spirit guides are marching right beside you in the physical realm. You are experiencing massive divine alignment. The strange delays in your life were actually perfect spiritual timing. Everything that felt like a painful rejection was just the universe moving you to a higher timeline. Your enemies are completely blind to this magnificent truth, but your wide-open eyes can clearly see the golden path ahead, and you know exactly what steps to take next. But wait. Before we go any further into this glory, I must strictly warn you, there is a fatal trap waiting right at the edge of your breakthrough. 99% of chosen ones completely fall for this exact illusion. The darkness knows it cannot break your solid foundation anymore, so it is desperately laying a sneaky trap right before your ultimate sunrise. Do not let your guard down right now. If you get distracted, you will blindly walk right into their hidden snare. Your enemies are using their absolute last resort to sabotage your new wealth. They will send a highly specific distraction wrapped in a beautiful package. You must keep your spiritual eyes open to avoid this deadly ambush, because losing your focus could delay your harvest. This trap is the sudden appearance of a toxic counterfeit from your past. Somebody who shattered your heart will suddenly reach out to you. They will send a seemingly harmless text message. They will boldly claim they have completely changed for the better. They will use beautiful spiritual words to make you think they are finally awake, but their dark soul carries the exact same toxic poison. This is a massive spiritual test from the divine court. The universe wants to see if you have truly learned your painful lesson after shedding tears. Will you open the sacred gates of your kingdom to a known traitor? Or will you stand firmly in your quiet authority and leave their desperate message completely unread? Do not reply to their fake apologies under any circumstances. Take a deep breath right now. Let this heavy warning settle deeply into your bones. The fact that you are hearing my voice means you are highly protected from their dark magic. But you must take absolute physical action to block their dark energy. You are a weapon of light, and you must swing your sword with pure precision today, completely cutting off anyone who drains your peace. You are standing exactly on the borderline of a massive wealth transfer. The heavy chains of poverty and severe depression are shattering around your feet. Do you feel that sudden rush of heat in your hands? That is the exact frequency of pure victory entering your current reality. Your new era of absolute dominance is completely undeniable now. They are watching your supreme rise with absolute terror. The narcissists who tried to bury you are choking on their own bitter tears. But you must keep your eyes entirely locked on the bright horizon. What I am about to reveal next is the ultimate key to your kingdom. The final seal of your divine destiny is arriving, and it is going to completely destroy every lie they told about you. The waiting season is officially over. The dry desert you walked through has suddenly burst into an oasis of pure divine favor. Every single heavy door that was closed in your face is currently being blown entirely off its hinges. Can you feel that massive shift in your spirit right now? That is the exact frequency of absolute victory rushing into your physical body. You did not fall for their pathetic illusion. When that toxic counterfeit tried to crawl back into your sacred space, you stood your firm ground. You looked at their desperate attempt to steal your light, and you felt absolutely nothing. That is the true power of a powerful cycle breaker. You completely severed the heavy chains of trauma that held your ancestors captive. Now it is time to reveal the ultimate truth I promised you at the very beginning. Here is the exact reason why your enemies are completely terrified of your presence. They always thought your deep silence was a sign of extreme weakness. They assumed you were quietly suffering and mourning the loss of their incredibly toxic and shallow company. But they were entirely wrong. Your silence was never an act of cowardly surrender. It was a massive spiritual weapon that reflected their own ugly demons right back into their terrified eyes. The reason they ran away was not because your vibration was too low to keep them around. They aggressively fled because your blinding light was completely exposing every dark secret they desperately tried to hide. You are completely untouchable now. You are no longer the fragile empath who constantly begged to be properly understood by shallow minds. The heavy crucible of your intense pain has forged you into the untouchable master of your reality. From this exact moment on, your pure energy demands absolute respect without a single word spoken from your mouth. They pushed you into a dark corner hoping you would entirely disappear. But they forgot you are a weapon of pure light. When you are placed in absolute darkness, your true power simply illuminates the entire room. You became the terrifying storm you were trying to survive all along. The universe is actively handing you the golden keys to your brand new kingdom. Every tear you cried in secret is now powerful spiritual currency. A massive generational wealth transfer has just been approved in your holy name. Those who plotted your downfall are watching their false empire completely crumble to ash. They are absolutely powerless today. They cannot stop the heavy karma crashing down on their heads right now. A glorious table is being prepared for you in their very presence. They will be forced to watch you eat the beautiful fruits of your silent labor. But you will not even look in their direction. Your frequency is entirely locked onto the highest dimension of pure divine love, and you have successfully graduated from the rigorous training ground of extreme pain and suffering. Can you feel that warm electricity running down your spine? That is heaven, officially installing your brand new spiritual armor. You are a rare and beautiful soul. You are the anomaly they could never figure out or safely control. The dark matrix is completely glitching because you finally decided to step into your supreme authentic power. Your pure existence is a miracle. The pitch-black darkness has permanently retreated behind you. The dawn of your new era is shining its brightest rays directly onto your spiritual crown. You survived the brutal physical attacks, you passed the rigorous spiritual tests, and now you must actively claim the glorious reward that was promised to your ancestors a very long time ago. Do not let this pass. You are standing at the absolute finish line today. God is watching your immediate response in this exact second. The enemy wants you to close this video right now. The darkness desperately hopes you will forget this powerful truth and return to your old passive state of mind. But you are a mighty spiritual warrior. You are fully awakened and totally unstoppable today. Your energy is overflowing with incredible divine power right now. You need to anchor this massive blessing into the physical realm before you do anything else. If you just walk away without claiming this frequency, it might slowly fade back into the unseen world. You must lock in this glorious reality forever. You need a physical action to properly seal the powerful magic. You are completely aligned with the highest frequency of the universe today. Every single step you take from now on is gently guided by supreme divine intelligence. The heavy burdens you carried for decades have been permanently lifted off your tired shoulders, and you can finally breathe with absolute freedom as you walk into your new life. The heavy spiritual debt is completely paid. This is your ultimate beautiful rebirth. You are stepping out of the dark tomb wearing a crown of solid gold. The angels are literally rejoicing because their beloved child has finally returned to the throne of absolute authority after a long and brutal war. Now, I need you to focus your entire mind on this very next instruction. You must create a shield of protection right now. You have officially crossed over into your golden promised land. The heavy iron chains that kept you brutally bound for decades are entirely broken today. The toxic cycle of immense pain ends right here with your massive victory. You are finally breathing the pure air of absolute freedom, and the universe is eagerly waiting for your next powerful command. But to completely lock in this glorious frequency, you must take immediate physical action today, because the spiritual realm strictly requires a solid earthly anchor to permanently hold this massive new blessing. Type AMN down in the comments right now to completely seal this beautiful reality. Let your fingers strike the screen like a heavy sword cutting through their lies. Your public written declaration is a binding contract with the highest divine source today. When you physically type those words, you are firmly telling the enemy that their access is permanently denied. You are actively building a massive wall of pure fire around your brand new kingdom, and absolutely no narcissistic parasite will ever cross that sacred boundary again. Do not let this beautiful and powerful moment simply pass you by. Tap the like button right now to activate the unstoppable flow of supreme divine favor. That simple physical movement is a profound act of complete agreement with the heavens above. It clearly shows the universe that you are entirely ready to receive the immense generational wealth you truly deserve. Hit subscribe to establish a permanent divine energy receiving station on your own physical device. You desperately need to stay completely anchored at this incredibly high vibrational frequency every single day. The darkness will definitely try to send quiet whispers of doubt tomorrow morning, but this sacred connection will quickly silence those pathetic little lies. If this fiery message has successfully reignited the ancient faith inside your tired soul, you must not keep this great blessing to yourself. There is another beautiful soul out there currently bleeding in the dark pit of deep despair. They are desperately begging the universe for a clear, guiding sign today, and heaven wants to use you to finally save their life. Share this video directly with someone who desperately needs a bright guiding light right now. Sowing the powerful seed of pure hope today is actively multiplying the massive blessing for your own beautiful tomorrow. When you rescue another chosen one from the terrifying dark trenches, You prove your supreme readiness to properly handle massive generational wealth. Your deep silence is your ultimate weapon, and your pure love is your glorious golden crown. You no longer need to endlessly explain your pure intentions to completely shallow and toxic minds. You are the brave cycle breaker who stood your firm ground when everyone else ran away in fear. The supreme master of your own glorious reality has officially awakened today. Your cowardly enemies will carefully watch you rise from a very safe and quiet distance. They will deeply regret the painful day they decided to mess with a true warrior of the divine light. But their incredibly bitter regrets are completely irrelevant to your beautiful new golden timeline. You are way too busy counting the massive blessings falling into your hands. Do you feel the intense warmth completely surrounding your physical body right now? That is the absolute confirmation that the heavy spiritual war is finally over, and you are the undisputed champion. You walked through the blazing fire without suffering a single burn on your skin, and the angels are currently singing a magnificent song of ultimate victory for you. Make a sacred promise to your own beautiful soul before you leave this sanctuary today. Promise that you will never lower your extremely high standards for anyone ever again. You are entirely too expensive for their cheap and pathetic little games. The divine courts have officially ruled in your absolute favor, and your massive compensation is being delivered right now. Keep your head held extremely high, my beautiful and powerful chosen one. You completely survived the brutal and lonely storm, and now you absolutely own the pouring rain. The entire universe is forcefully applauding your quiet authority and massive resilience today. Step confidently forward into your brand new golden era, because no weapon formed against you will ever prosper. Type 111 in the comments if you claim this glorious victory, and hit the share button to instantly lock in your divine protection for the rest of the entire year. The heavy gates of your magnificent new kingdom are wide open and waiting for your royal arrival. Walk through those golden doors with pure pride and never look back at the dark shadows again.